If you've been watching Toronto listings lately and you keep seeing and hearing power of sale, you're not imagining it. This is one of the clearest signs of financial stress showing up inside the resale market. Power of sale listings have gone up since 2022 as we started seeing the mortgage rates going up. We're also seeing mortgage arrears is also going up right across Canada in all major Canadian cities. This will eventually could result in more power of sales listing. Today I will break down what power of sale means in Ontario, why is it rising, who gets hurt, who benefits, and what it means for Toronto prices and inventory over the next 6 to 12 months. Power of sale is when the lender takes control of the sale of the home after the homeowner defaults on the mortgage. This is not the homeowner choosing to sell. This is the lender selling to recover the money owed plus costs such as legal and sales costs and brokerage costs, and they will increase it as much as they can. If anything is left after debts and costs, the leftover money goes back to the homeowner. People mix up power of sale and foreclosures. In Ontario, power of sale is a faster lender sale process than a full foreclosure path, and it often ends with the property being listed on the open market such as MLS. With power of sale, the remaining amount goes back to the seller, whereas in foreclosure, the lender keeps the remaining equity. But it takes a much longer for foreclosure process to get in place. Here's a timeline in Ontario in simple steps. Step 1, default starts. Once the default continues for at least 15 days, the lender is allowed to give notice to exercise power of sale. Step 2 is notice of sale goes out. After the notice, there is a waiting period, commonly described as at least 35 days, where the borrower has a chance to fix the default, pay whatever arrears, and stop the process. Some sources note 40 days in certain household situations. Step 3, if the borrower still does not fix it, the lender moves for possession, then lists the property for sale. At that point, the listing looks like any other listing to the public, except the seller is a lender and the terms are strict. Also, there is a statutory power of sale situation when the mortgage does not include a power of sale clause. It is less common and it has longer notice rules tied to longer default periods. Now let's talk about what this means for the homeowner. First, you lose control. Even if you still live in the home, the lender controls the sale process and the paperwork. Second, power of sale listings often come with as is, where is terms. You often see limited representation and warranties. So buyers push harder on price, so they build more risk into their offer. But as a law, the lender cannot just sell whatever price they want. It has to be based on market value. Third, the lender's goal is to not maximize your lifestyle outcome. The lender goal is to recover the debt and close clean. Many lenders order appraisal and then look for a reasonable offer that clears their internal target instead of waiting for the emotional top dollar buyer. So as long as it meets the market price, plus or minus, the lender will take it. Fourth, power of sale is a late stage signal. People do not miss mortgages first. They cut spending, burn savings, lean on credit, and only later fall behind on the mortgage. CMHC describes arrears as typically 90 days past due and as a lagging indicator of stress that has been building. So why are we talking about this in 2026? The mortgage renewals wave is a big driver. CMHC says more than 1.5 million households have renewed at higher interest rates, with another million expected over the coming year. CMHC also says arrears also are rising, even if they're still low compared to history, and Toronto and Vancouver show the strongest sign of stress. You also see the delinquency numbers being quoted a lot. One widely shared stat is that mortgage delinquency rates climbed from 0.13% in early 2020 to 0.24% by Q3 2025, close to doubling. And the resale market setup makes this worse. If prices are flat or down and listings are up, a high stress homeowner has fewer clean exits. They cannot refinance or they cannot sell it to recoup their equity. During the boom years, someone in trouble often sold fast, paid off the mortgage, and walked away. In a slower market, that exit is much harder, which is how forced sales starts to show up, and now we're seeing it in the stats. What this means for the Toronto market? Power of sale is not half the market. It is still a small slice. The reason it matters is where it concentrates. It clusters in the areas and the property types that people stretched the most during the low rate years, during the work from home eras of COVID times. Detached homes are leading. Power of sale listings were just over 1% of all new detached listings in 2025 versus about 0.66% for condo apartments. There are also specific markets with higher shares of power of sale listings, including some suburban and exurban areas. Like areas such as Brock, Ajax, Stouffville, Oshawa, and Brampton as standing out for higher shares. This is the reason is because a lot of people overstretched themselves during the low rates area and working from home era. They bought up these properties that were like more expensive than what they could afford because they just wanted to get out of the city and the rates were low. And now as the rates are coming due on a renewal, then they cannot afford it and then they keep missing the payments. And it's important to note that price declines in places like Brock down 15% year over year, Stouffville down 13% year over year in the same discussion of stress pockets. So we'll see that because property prices have calmed down, the people that bought at the peak, they cannot sell it because it's gonna wipe out their equity. Therefore, they're just, you know what, they're gonna stop paying mortgage and then they're gonna go into power of sale. Okay, so what buyers and sellers should do right now? If you're a homeowner who's stretched, the earlier you act, the more options you keep. Refinance discussions, budgeting, selling, volunteering, renting out part of the property, anything that avoids a forced process keeps you in the control. Once a lender takes over, you are reacting at this point. And don't forget, this whole process is gonna impact your credit as well. Once you miss mortgage payments, it hits your credit and you're gonna have a harder time to get loan in future or even rent a place because your credit score is gonna be low. So it's always important to act early. As soon as you see the financial stress coming up, then come up with different solutions as I mentioned. If you're a buyer, do not assume power of sales equals like an incredible deal. These listings often come with strict terms, limited disclosures, and the lender will still target market value based on the appraisal and internal rules. Your edge is clean condition, strong deposit, flexible closing, and doing your homework fast. You probably cannot get inspections, or even if you do, don't expect the lender is gonna fix the house because usually, as I mentioned, the condition is as is. If you're watching the market, track the share of power of sale listings as a percentage of new listings in the areas you care about, not as a percentage of all mortgages, and then you can see how this is impacting the overall market and then you can make a wise decision accordingly.